Hello again, VOTOMS fans. So this is going to be a long video because 3 of these robots I don't have. I have this one already, a Red Shoulder Custom, but the other 3 we're going to have to assemble and talk about. So this is from Actic Gear line AG-V19 in the series, and then it's from AT Chronicles 2, Armored Troopers Chronicles 2, Battle on Quent. Quent is a planet, I guess, where this person that pilots this is from. Like really tall humans, and it's a desert planet. There's some images there. Okay, let's see. This is copyright by Sunrise because they're the guys that owns the franchise of VOTOMS, the cartoon series. But Takara Tomy is the company that made these toys. All right. There's some easy model in here as well. Top sides don't really have much to talk about, but the back does. Alright, so that's a little easy gun. You can just see the pieces on the sprue. It's a really simple model. Whatever, it's better than nothing. And then here we have the main 3. So Scope Dog, you can watch my video, a different video on Scope Dog. It's cool and all, but these 2 are new to me. So this is what, Rabidlydog? What's it say on the front? Yeah, Rabidlydog and Berserga DT. That makes them different. In fact, I should probably find out the specs on these guys. Alright, let's finish up this packaging here. Nice little action shot here of the figures. Some specs in Japanese, callouts I guess of what they are. And some moving parts and stuff like that. So, here's a little snippet of information if you want to know what VOTOMS means. You can pause. And get a knife and cut this tape. Side of the tape. This is the kit for the thing called the Zwerg. And these little baggies for the other robots. They each have a little baggie for them. So the cardboard is empty now. Look at this bag here. Alright, so you got these little cardboard name card things. I'm not sure why there's 2 Zwerg ones, but maybe it comes with 2 Zwergs. You can bolt this into a triangle if you wanted to. Then we have some spec cards that go into like a binder you can get. So this is for the main trio. Not really the main trio, Battle on Quent figures. And there's a separate one here for the Scope Dog Red Shoulder. Both of these have like images of the cartoon, you know, scenes they're from. And this one has some specs of the thing here. Okay. Alright, some sort of piece goes into the back of this thing's foot. Just an added note, maybe they forgot to put it into the directions. And then this thing, piece of paper, says August of 2017 is when this set came out. And so it starts with the Rabidlydog. And so this is the chassis number, by the way, XATH-02DT. And you can put the pieces together. The pilot goes in the cockpit, of course. You can swap out a hand with the hand on the gun. There's a punch feature, claw feature that it can fold down so the pilot can supposedly would act like it's getting in and out of the machine. And then some other moving parts. And so those coincide with Zwerg here. Really simple, just articulating legs and shoulders there. And then Scope Dog, I've already reviewed, and a tiny bit here for the Berserga. The Berserga starts here, it's a really strange layout. Okay. You know what? I think we're going going to start with the Zwerg, because it's just sitting in my face. But here, if you want, I don't think you're going to read this text. This is the information on these other robots here. So this is the Zwerg info. It's saying it's an experimental desert trip light class armored trooper. Alright, manufactured by the Secret Society. And it's pretty small, only 3 meters tall. And only around 3.5 tons. So that's like half the size of a normal VOTOMS. And where was it? Light class, secret, blah blah blah. Campaign on the planet Quent. Designed for desert use. Ski type sand rotor moves to. That's not bad. The best in English. Okay, it does look like we get 2 Zwergs. So I'm going to just build 1, of course. These are totally identical, so I'll get rid of these 2 sprues. Okay, well, as you can see, the Zwerg is a pretty simple robot, but it does have articulating, points for the legs and the arms, but no color detail. So if you want to look, obviously a little more sprightly, you probably want to add some paint into those optics and maybe the vent and all that stuff. But the molded details seem acceptable, and it's nice that they gave you 2. Always nice to have some freebies. You can experiment, with different color schemes with the 2 different kinds. So, alright. Anyways, we'll put that aside for now. Oh, look at that. That was pretty loose. Okay. Alright. So, that's the Zwerg. Let's back this up here. So, I guess we should get this one going. The Berserga DT. First, let's pull it out of here. Let's just pull all 3 out. Berserga DT. You'll notice it's on a nice little piece of extra plastic to keep it from getting scratched up from the blister. And then the Rabidlydog as well. I'm actually not going to take this out because I already have it. I'll just pull out the duplicate I have later. Respective weapons. Alright, so I'll put these up here. Let's learn a little bit about these guys. Giant Quent man, high demand. This thing was Fiona. Well, that's interesting. I don't recall Fiona, the female character in this show, driving this thing, but maybe she did. Anyways, so that's what's going on. It's a heavy class armored trooper. Yeah, it is Fiona, I guess. And you'll see it's much bigger, right? 9 tons and stuff. Alright, back to this. Let's get into the articulation of this guy before we put parts on it. Well, we might as well start with this piece here. So this looks like it's the plastic is raw, but it's pretty nice. It's like a purplish, it's a purple plastic. They have some paint on it though here with this maroon color. You can see the sprue marks, where they clipped it off. So some these are pretty much like model kits already assembled for you with some minor paint apps. Sorry, I'm zoomed in too much though. Let me move the camera inwards a little bit, get some better light for you guys. Alright, well, yeah, very interesting head here. The visor does come up. You'll notice the gold actually carries across all the way down, so that's cool. And then it actually comes here as well. And then, sorry, where's my toothpick? There we go. think there's a little gold on the head itself, but right now the head is turned. So yeah, you can turn the thing, so that's pretty neat. And then on the back of the head, you got this like antenna of some sort with some gold as well. The gold carriage across to the top. So really cool colors, you know, this maroon, this gold in here, some metallic green here, and a tiny little blue, I think, in here. They're not clear lenses, but it is a small model. I mean, look how it's really tiny. Alright, so we got some cool rivet marks and stuff. It's asymmetric. You know, the rivets don't come up on this side. This might be a footstep, perhaps. It's actually a separate piece already assembled. You might want to glue that in place later on so it doesn't get lost. Let's go to this shoulder here. We have this like spike mechanism, so I think that can spike enemies. But we got this cool gold painting on it, and it's not just printed on. There's actually molded recesses, molded lines, and then they painted it gold. So it's really cool. Some red in here, grooves here. And then this thing is pivoting. You can see, so it can rotate separate of the arm and pivot around. So there's quite a lot going on, this mechanism here. There's a ball joint here, it's on an arm that is attached at the top of the shoulder, but also in the middle. So I don't know why there's a white piece there. See, there's actually another. It's a really wacky mechanism. I don't know what this white piece is for. Well, maybe something attaches to it, but we'll find out later. So you can see there's a peg and a ball at the top of the shoulder here. And so that allows full rotation and in and out. You know, kind of slight butterfly effect, but not much. And then the elbow, boy, let's see, seems to be a ball peg there. But it can bend around 90 degrees. It's hard to tell with the shield in the way, but not quite 90 degrees, but close. And then the wrist here, you'll see this hand is missing a piece. Maybe that's what that extra piece of paper was for. I thought it was in the foot, but maybe it's in the hand. You gotta put a plug in there later. Okay, this is a closed fist. On this arm here, you have a rounded shoulder pad and a hanging hole. And then this thing is on a separate pivot from the shoulder. Right, and so maybe this side we can see it better. Well, this might be a double hinge. Yeah. So that's the first one, then the second one. So that's impressive. Very cool. It's still only around 90 degrees, but it could have been a lot worse. Alright, and there's the fist again on this side as well. Open the cockpit here. I think there's a hinge in the back. Yeah, but I don't think it lifts up. No, it just... So it's cool. Different colored seat. It's white. And then we'll probably put a cockpit detail in here later. It's on the end of a little baggie. Going around to the back, we have some sort of backpack here, and it comes off. It's painted red, gold. I think it's originally this purple. So a lot of cool colors going on here. Just a friction fit. The torso, you can see there's a rotation, but I think it actually pivots a little tiny bit too. Yeah, so that's pretty neat. Okay, so then this little armor plate on the thigh, it seems to pivot a little bit. Can't tell if it's on what though. I think there's a peg, but I'm not sure if there's a ball on it. It might just be a straight peg. Oh, well, there we go. Yeah, it is just a straight peg. And then the torso, the hip here, seems to be a peg with a ball going into the thigh. So you can split, rotate, all that stuff. Alright, so the knee, you got some nice little like ribbing details here. Let's see how far it can bend. Well, oh, the leg oh boy, the kneecap just fell off. Alright, so it can bend past 90. And then, yeah, you might want to glue this in place later. I'll deal with that later. And then the foot has a little flap here for armor. And then the foot itself, let's see, it's on a hinge at the top. And then a peg with a ball, I think, at the bottom, so we can get rocker. Maybe it's not a ball. It's hard to, I can't see in there. I can see a screw head in there. That's interesting. And then these little hoses are flexible rubber, so that's kind of neat. And then I like this yellow painted detail. I think these are probably drive tracks, like a tank tread. So that's how it scoots along the ground. So that's really cool. Very nice. I haven't actually seen, I don't think I've seen, I can't remember if I've seen this episode with this robot. I'm not sure if it was in the first VOTOMS series. I can't remember. Alright, actually it probably was. I think there was Quent towards the end of the, well, it was a long series. Please leave a comment if you know. Alright, so yeah, that's gonna be problematic. There's some red details here, red paint, so maybe it's a vent or something. Okay, so that's what's going on with that one. Now, this baggie here, all the same purple color, so you get a lot of accessories that you might have to add on or maybe just swap out. Let's see what's on these screws. So we got some 4 gun magazines, and then we got to put the gun together. Here's the gun handle with the hand already built in. Here's just a gun handle if you want to display it on your own. Here's the pilot. You might as well put that in here. So this is Fiona, because you can see it's a female. Yeah, I don't think I've seen this. I don't remember. Yeah, sorry, my memory's not so good. She looks pretty small in this cockpit. Alright, these are those tiny plugs for the hands. Yeah, so... Alright, you know what? I'm going to just go over these and maybe fast forward again. So these are sides of the gun. But what's going on here? Why does this already have a hand on it? And then this must be Rushako, I think. Yeah, this is the Quent person. So that's cool. There's an alternative pilot. Granted, I'm not going to paint it. I have no clue what that would be for. And then here are the controls for the cockpit. And it's got tiny little stalks, you know, tiny little hand grabs. And then what is this thing? I don't know. So I'll have to figure some of these things out on the go. Let's see what happens. Gun together. Pretty simple. Magazine goes in. Or like this. No. That's weird. Should it look like that? Back to the instructions. Oh, a little bit is supposed to go inside. guess it's permanently supposed to be in there, so I gotta take this apart again. Sorry, my cat wanted out of the room. Oh yeah, so the magazine has to be trapped by this piece of plastic. Oh, and of course it doesn't stay in there. So this thing makes no sense. These two parts, they just, oh, the alternate piece here that was in the blister. Okay. So this is a different type of gun, I guess. And maybe this way. Yeah, and then a magazine. So this magazine just goes in somehow. Alright. So it does have two guns. The one on the sprue is much smaller and less detailed, with color at least, than this other one. Alright, cool. Nice alternatives. Alright, the back of the hand needs these little plastic pieces. Let's see if it's a good friction fit. Seems like they'll stay in there. I guess they did that because it wouldn't mold, it wouldn't cool properly if it was just a solid piece of plastic. Honestly, I'm not sure. What? It has to be this piece. So that had a little sprue after all that. It's keeping it in there. So, okay, so that's cool. Yeah, you can see Rushako is a giant person. Looks much bigger than Fianna here. Alright. Oh, the cockpit piece here. So there's a little TV screen, it seems like. Sorry, I lost focus. I can't do a thing. I can't hit focus when I'm putting this model together. I don't want to break those stalks off, so I'm going to use some pliers. Alright, cool. Nice little detail there. Now, I noticed on the instructions, magazines can go into this backpack. But actually, it would have been cool if they came with one more magazine. So, which way did it go in? Hold on, gotta look at the instructions again. Alright, so it goes with the curve facing outwards. I don't know if it's just like a friction fit or what. Oh, I see. Before I put those in, this little red piece can be used to cover this whole thing up. So, but I think it'll be cool to have magazines sticking out, so I'm not going to put that in there. I might never get it out. Since I have two extra magazines here, I am not sure how those are supposed to get in there. I guess that's it. So I'm gonna... Sadly, I gotta pull this magazine out of one of the guns because it didn't come with 5. Or did it? Did it only come with 3? I can't even remember how many clipped off that sprue. Man, why doesn't that one go in? So it's very common to have, you know, a hard time because these pieces are so small. Yeah, you really gotta get the middle one in there first. Let me pause, come back. So I used pliers to put them in, but they're just not a good fit. So if you want the magazine sticking out, you're gonna have to glue them in there, I think, or they're just gonna fall loose and then you're gonna lose them forever. So that's too bad. Maybe I will try putting this in there. Let's see what happens. Well, I don't feel like that's gonna fall out. So I'm gonna stick with the magazine covers. Yeah. It's weird. Yeah, there's nothing really keeping them in there, right? The magazine, so. Alright, we're gonna leave it like this then. Now the hand, let's see, they're both right hands, these weapons. I guess now I can actually take one of those magazines and put it back in this gun. I like this one more because it has the red on it. Question is, how do we get a hand off of this? Guess we just gotta pull it out. Yep. Just a friction fit. Pop that in. Okay, so let's try to get this guy to pose. Oh, we didn't try the fold down mechanism. You know, him crouching. When I hate him, I mean the robot. So these have to go back. You gotta pull the legs apart like this. Right? Flip the thighs back, and like this. So it looks like it's not long enough. Definitely if... Oh, there goes that kneecap again. Not the best crouch down, but it is kind of crouching down. Yeah, I feel like something's going right here. It's like not stretching enough. Oh, now there goes that gun magazine. So this is pretty common. Parts just fall off all the time. But they don't break. So it's one or the other. I think the problem is these hoses are also kind of getting in the way. They don't want to sit next to each other. That's the best it can go, I guess. Just like that. Alright, well anyways, I'm never going to pose it in the down position, but I thought I'd show you guys. So now let's get these legs back together. There's that kneecap. I'm going to glue these kneecaps in place, actually. So let me come back after I do that. I'm going to use crazy glue because it's driving me crazy. Alright, so now let's get into the Rabidlydog. I'm just reading this website here. This is made for... This mecha was made for the star of the show called Chiriko QV. And it's a experimental desert trip heavy class armored trooper. I think it's based off the Strike Dog, but it has a much bigger claw. That's what it's saying. Alright. So let's look at this figure here. So you can see the visor pops up and down, and in this slot the optics can move left and right. The optics don't have any lenses though, it's just paint, like a metallic green and a metallic, I don't know if that's orange. I would say that's orange. Okay, the antennas look really delicate, really crazy that they would make them so thin, but it does look nice. Alright, so the cockpit, the hinges do pop up in the back, and then you can flip it up. And decent standard details, you know, molded in. You can add some color if you want. Okay, so let's pop that back down. Later on, we're going to add the grab rail. Both shoulders look symmetric. They pivot on the top of the shoulders, these armor pieces. And then there's a double dumbbell ball peg thing going on here. One's in the torso, one's in the top of the shoulder. So you can get full rotation, a slight butterfly effect, and then up and down movement, although it's blocked by this armor quite a bit. So the bicep itself can rotate. And then the elbow, there's a hinge there. Is it one or two hinges? Just one hinge on this claw side. Okay, so the claw, you got this two giant ones here on the outside, and then one on this inside. And there's supposed to be a gun in here, so I think this thing articulates outwards. Yep. So that's neat. There's a gun. Cool. And then this claw can slide on the forearm. Sorry, this thing's so small it's hard to actually articulate. But yeah, there you go. So it's all the way back now. Kind of rest there in front of the gun. But you can actually slide it, hopefully. Come on. No, well, now we know what the arm looks like, taken apart. There's a little hinge there, and the blue piece that hinges. And then this thing with the gun. Two tiny pins there. So you might want to crazy glue that in place if you don't like it falling apart. But, yeah, so this thing does move up and down inside that slot, but there's a lot of friction, so yeah, in fact I'm gonna probably come back. I'm gonna glue that in place. Alright, I ended up crazy gluing those pegs on. I find that in these really small figures I collect, it's better sometimes to just glue the pieces on, because if they fall off, they're so small you'll never find them again. So I'd rather have something that I can't take apart, but it looks like the complete object, you know? Like these things also probably come off as well, these gray things, yeah. So I'll have to go back and glue those on later. I don't know what they are. Usually they're ammo packs, but on this they just look like gray boxes. Anyways, we got some flaps here, armor flaps, and this is a step here, and they all move out of the way. And then on this arm we have a punch mechanism. Yeah, see, it comes out like it's supposed to be a powered punch. There's a flap protecting the wrist, and then this pivot, it's a ball peg, but you can bend it all the way, I think. No, sometimes you can, well, no, this one you can't. Other ones you can bend the wrist all the way in, but not this one. Okay. Alright, so the legs here, yeah, there's an armor flap in the back. Oh, see, the kneecap, I'm going to crazy glue that one in there later too. So that kneecap is actually not symmetric. There's a smooth side and then one with a vent. But if you move this flap back here, you can move the leg back, and then if you pull the leg apart like this, then you can get into crouch down mode. So I'm going to quickly show you crouch down mode. Just kind of twisting, yeah, getting that apart. So that's crouch down mode, so that in theory the pilot can climb up here and get into the cockpit and get out and all that stuff. But I never really display my robots like that, so, but it is capable. There's some screws holding that piece together, so maybe you can possibly adjust tension. There's a positive snap there, which is nice too. There's an armor plate protecting the front of the foot, and then the foot itself is hinged. There's a hinge at the top, but the bottom has a ball peg, so you can get a lot of side-to-side rocker, front to back, you know, twisting. No, there you go. Okay, nice click there. So pretty good. This kneecap, does that want to fall off? Yeah, that clicks back into place. The backpack we haven't really looked at. I wonder if it comes off. Yep. So these backpacks, you know, I think you can switch between robots and stuff in many cases. This is very much like a scope dog back. And so it just hangs off those two things. I don't know what's going on here. There's a nice silver handle. It's actually got air passing underneath it. But I don't know what if anything goes in here. Not sure yet. Oh, does this open? Look at that. Alright, that's cool. And then, what's the deal with this? Looks like a... It's got hinges. So that might have something to do with the baggie. So here's the baggie, I cut it open, but here's the pilot, a hand, two things, the controls, and the grab rail. Okay, so I know the grab rail goes into the torso. Really small pieces. You know, actually, I think this white torso is separate plastic. It's raw white plastic. This blue is painted on. The headlights are painted on. But this looks separate than the blue up here. Some other scope dogs is just painted there. Alright, so the pilot here, Jericho, QV. Let's get him inside this thing. Lift up the back, open this, pop him in there. If you want to see... all these pilots wear like these face masks and optics and like an oxygen tank and stuff, but I'm too lazy to paint them. There's a peg hole there for some other figures, but this figure doesn't have that corresponding peg. His feet have to go around that thing. Whoa, it just snapped out from tension. Let me push him in all the way. Okay. And then in that baggie were the controls. Pretty basic looking controls. I'm going to use some pliers actually to get this down in there. Okay, so there he is. Alright, so he's inside there. And you can kind of see his head in there maybe. It's really dark, but oh well. Alright, so that gun. Yeah, molded details, a little gray paint on it. There's a foregrip here, and then this might be for the handle, which you can probably snap in right there, but I'm going to snap in the handle that has the hand on it because I want to pose the robot holding its gun. Yeah, nice snap there. That doesn't come out, I don't think. It's a separate piece, but I think it's rigid. So the last thing in the baggies were these two canisters, which I'm assuming must have something to do with this. Well, what? Let me look at the instructions. Alright, I glued those kneecaps on, but I noticed here in the backpack, this gray thing, you can actually pull it out. I think what it maybe does is these might be landmines or depth, like some sort of charges that roll out the back, but they can't be stored in there, I don't think. There's actually no talking of these little cylinders in the instructions. They're just not even mentioned. But that's what I'm assuming is what's supposed to happen. Maybe this thing opens up and they, you know, he's laying mines down as he takes off. Interesting. Okay, I really like that little handle. So, I don't know. These will just go into a baggie later. Alright, so swapping out this hand, the right hand, we're just pulling on this peg. You'll see it's exposed here in the bottom. Boy, it's pulling out the forearm. These are always really hard, it seems. This one will actually bend past there. Oh, that actually helps take it out. Okay, so I'm going to try to put it in sideways like that. Yeah, that helped actually. Okay. Let's put this backpack back on. So I don't intend to glue this backpack on, but if it's really loose, I'll put some poster board putty in there, which it is. No, it's actually pretty good. But now this thing. Maybe I'll put poster board putty in there later. Just get a pose. Let's get his gun exposed. The claw. Bend his elbow. So you'll see, you can actually, he's canted on both feet. Like he's moving in that direction. It's kind of neat. So good posing on these guys, you know. And then the torso will spin a little bit as well, as long as those armor plates aren't in the way. I think these are drive tracks on the bottom of the feet, you know, so like a tank, and that's what makes it move along the ground. So a lot of nice little molded details here and there. Alright, from this vantage point it doesn't look cool. So let me get this. I'll get the spin coaster out later. We'll take a look at all those later. Alright, now the last one, you might want to search my channel. I've already reviewed it. But let me just show it to you again. So here it is in the blister, the Scope Dog Custom. So it just has a red shoulder and then spiked feet. So that's really common. And then in the baggie that came in this giant box, you have this missile launcher, a Gatling gun that goes on the side of the torso. I think this is a separate, I don't know what that is, but you got the rifle, and then a gold-colored alternate gun, the handle, and a bunch of armor plates and stuff. So this is identical to it, what's in that baggie. So here's the gold gun, and it goes on the forearm, and then here's the missile launcher, and it's got a peg going into the backpack. Oh, that's what that other thing was. And so the Gatling gun is on the side, and it gets fed from the backpack itself. There's ammo cans on the side. They're supposed to be green. I had a different one from a different figure, so I popped a gray one on there. I think this is like a missile launcher, and then the spikes, they can move and stuff like that. So I have a video on this one. I'm not going to dwell on it. So I'm not going to put this together. I'm just going to sell it off or something like that. So you can see from this angle, they're far more cool to look at. You know, they look like they're moving, right? So it's pretty cool. Let's not forget this little Zwerg guy. Let's get these guys spinning so you can see them from all the sides. That's a slow angle. I mean a slow speed. And let's get a slightly higher angle. Some sort of banging on the apartment below me. I apologize for that. One issue I've noticed with this Berserga is the tubes on the feet. You can't really pose the feet next to each other very well because they collide. So that's why I staggered the feet in that fashion. Alright, well, anyways, oh, that's very loose now, that backpack's. Very cool set. You know, I don't think you can buy this Rabidlydog or, well, yeah, I don't think you can buy these two figures or even this Zwerg on their own. They only come in this set, to my understanding. You can clearly get this somewhere else because I did. So I think you can buy this separately on its own. But if you don't have any VOTOMS, I would highly recommend you just bite the bullet, pay a lot of money, and get this set, because you can't get 3 of the 4 outside of this set, to my understanding. Of course, I'm always wrong, so if you think I am wrong, please leave a comment so you know other viewers can make smart purchasing decisions. Okay. Well, thank you for watching today, guys. I know there's still a few other VOTOMs from this series I want to get. They're just so expensive. I mean, these were pretty expensive. But you never know. Maybe someone's going to sell one used someday at a local toy shop and I'll be able to pick them up. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in another VOTOMS video. Bye now.